Welcome to another episode of On the Spot. I'm glad you're able to join me today. Okay. So today we're going to be working on, again, just to kind of recap what we've been talking about, was doing the hot press. This is a watercolor paper hot press compared to a cold press, so paper that I'm used to working with. So we're kind of venturing on our journey here. Just locate all my watercolor paper. I mean my brushes here. So again, anybody who's just joining me, I encourage you to watch the other previous videos to kind of get an idea of what we've been doing. But anyway, this is a robot, and I have a site called agerobotica.com. During the descriptions, I usually do give a little brief kind of, telling you to view the website, if you could. Just kind of just shows you a little more of my robots and stuff that I've been doing. Pretty much all done in watercolors and some in pen and ink, but a good majority of it is all done in watercolors. So, alright. So we are continuing on this. Again, one of the things I kind of noticed what's different about the this paper compared to the cold press is that it's I mean, the paper, you feel the texture is very different compared to the hot press. I mean, the cold press, but it's still not a very bad. It's not a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing to have. To try new papers, to try something new. To branch out from what you've been doing. And if you notice, I'm kind of bringing the colors in. I put a little bit of more darker red here. What I'm trying to do is bring out, kind of trying to pop out the colors that are already there, like the whites and stuff, and then kind of, it's a little harder, not that it's hard to explain, it's just that I'm like I mentioned before in my other videos, I'm kind of used to just doing it, not having to show what I'm doing. So it's a little bit of a change. And actually, I enjoy kind of describing what I'm doing and how I'm going about it. So it's what I'm trying to hope to accomplish is, when I'm trying to do this, you notice brush marks and everything like that, is to kind of bring a little bit of the 3D elements into it. So you're adding a lot of these textures, a lot of roughness. So there's always a process of getting it done, because it's like, how was it done? Was it done, you got to think about it. I mean, it's a process of how you get to a certain point, or the textures or the technique that you do. So it just doesn't happen overnight or by itself, of course. So it takes a little time to Okay. So again, just you're just following along with me step by step, and it's hopefully you're finding it entertaining or enjoyable, or hopefully encouraging to you if you are an artist trying to do your own artwork. And so that's really my goal, is to give you guys inspired or some ideas of what I'm doing. So it's neat to see it when you start putting down these paints or these color certain parts. It doesn't really look like what it doesn't you can't see what you're doing. I mean, you can see what you're doing, but I'm saying that you don't see the final process until later. So it takes time. So sorry if I don't talk sometimes through my videos. I'm just trying to focus on what I'm doing here, and just hopefully you guys are just getting an idea of what is going on. So I'm just trying to build up the the metal is part of his body, but hopefully at the same time I'm trying to build the shape and bring out the shape of the robot. So again, it's a little bit different because I'm using a different style of watercolor paper compared to what I've been using before. It was a cold press I meant. So it is a little different. It's so it's like I'm learning how I would definitely go about it a little differently with the cold press paper, or how the paper would react. So I'm kind of learning, okay, this is what I need to do with this one. So it may take a little longer to get the kind of look that I want to get from the what I would get normally from the cold press. So yeah, it's just a little process to do everything. So let me kind of bring the paints over here so you can kind of watch what I'm doing here. So alright, so I'm just trying to go over the metal a little bit more. I pull a little bit of the dark colors, almost like a dark blue or purple. And then I'm trying to work these colors in, because these are the shadows in the robot's, the armor. See, all this takes time. All this is kind of I don't know what I should say, it's just it's a process. You got to be patient with yourself, with your, what you're doing. Try to be easy on yourself, to be honest. That's what I would just say. You're an artist, you're trying to, a lot of times we're setting goals that are really beyond ourselves, that we're not really ready to do just yet. So just try to be patient with what you can do. Don't try to set too high standards of your artwork. I mean, you want to have high standards. I mean, what I mean is, like, don't be so, like, it's got to be this way, or or whatever. You just feel like you failed if you didn't get it just right. But sometimes, it's just a process of doing it. So, see, I'm kind of learning right here. You guys are joining me, and I'm just learning how am I going to go about with this paper to cause the textures, the techniques, and then just bring it out to life. So I'm kind of just focusing on one section here, but I'm trying to move along through the other sections too, of course. So. Yeah, just be easy on yourself. Don't be so critical, because we're usually our worst critics, to be honest. We're just so, you just feel like, oh, it's just not right. I just can't do this right. But sometimes you just gotta let it happen, regardless of how you feel. I'm just saying, yeah, it may not look the way you want it to look right now, but it will. It will come out. Maybe not exactly how you envisioned it, but it'll work. So you just gotta have confidence in what you're doing in your artwork. So. And take every painting that you do step by step. Just like learn from what you did. So you might have done one painting and you go, oh my gosh, it was really good, and then you do another painting you had a hard time with, and you're just like kind of frustrated with yourself, and you're like, why did that one painting turn out really good and the other one didn't turn out, and you're just you're kind of beating yourself up over it. But the thing is, you're gonna have that. That's gonna happen. You're gonna have bad days of something not turning out quite as you wanted it to, and then it's just going to be a challenge. So. Alright, so we're building up the, sorry, I go for a long time without talking. I apologize. Just trying to focus on this, building the armor here, hopefully, yeah, just adding these little colors to it to try to build up, but to make sure, like I said before, you want to make sure you try to keep the white of the paper, the highlights here, so I'm trying to keep it white a little bit at this part. So you don't want to lose a lot of this texture and stuff, that you don't want to lose all that. So. Again, a lot of times it does not look like, when you're starting to draw this, I'm painting this, it looks just like, what did I do? I just started putting this, But it's kind of like what you have to do. You have to kind of build it up step by step, and putting those background colors in there. All these colors are shapes, or I'm getting it ready for that final, when it's finally done. So. And I'm going through several things right now in my mind, because I'm working on this painting, and I'm finding that it's very different than, in some ways, than the cold press would be. So certain areas to where the paint would react, or how it's blending, or how the water, the wet on wet right here is sort of blended and splotched a little bit, that's different than the cold press. The cold press wouldn't exactly done that. So it's there's different variances of how the colors are going to react to the paper or the paint. So I'm learning. I'm sort of, it's experimentation. It's sort of like, you guys are joining me in this. You guys are seeing what difficulties I might be having. So I'm trying to overcome those difficulties, and we're trying to be, at the same time, it's kind of hard because you're watching me and you're like, okay, what is he going to do? Something might appear that it messed up a little bit, or you may not see it, but I see it in my mind. But I just have to remind myself, it's going to dry. I can come over it again. I got to be patient with what the process is. Patient with the creative process, And that's what we got to do in life, or anything like that we're doing. We just got to be patient with ourselves. Allow it to happen one way or the other. So. And it's fun too, I'm not just trying to say, get frustrated and all this, but have fun doing it. Honestly, if you mess up, no big deal. You can just start another paper, as long as you have enough paper to work with. If you have like a lot of paper, then go for it. Consider those as practice pieces, or you need to practice. You need to kind of trial and error, to see, does this work? Does this not work? Is this something I'm going to be doing with this painting again and again? And then you just find out, what you like or don't like, and you're learning your own technique, so that's, you are the artist in your own way, because there's no one else really painting your painting. You're doing your own painting. So all I can do is give you a little direction, to say maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. But ultimately, when you start painting, you're the one doing it. So just like I'm the one doing this right now, there isn't anybody else telling me, Jeff, you need to do this, or you need to do that. I'm really making decisions where I want to go with this painting. So, but I'm also dealing, like I said, I'm dealing with the way the differences of paint, how the texture reacts to the hot press versus cold press. Yeah, I noticed a little bit with the cold press, a lot of times there'd be a little bit of resistance with the paper. I guess that's what I'm trying to think about, what it would be like if I'm doing this on cold press. Because cold press, there's texture to it. There's like a roughness, and there's almost like when you pull the brush across, there's a sort of a resistance to it. There's the texture paper really kind of grips the brush, and it kind of, you could feel that, the bumps and the textures of it, and it kind of, as you go over it, it definitely kind of slows the paint down. It kind of sets the paint to be right in that little position where the paper is. Now, cold press, the hot press doesn't have that texture. It's very smooth. It's almost as if it's like on poster board or something like that. If you ever if you worked on poster board or just your regular paper, like your copier paper or whatever, you touched it and it's smooth and there's not really any texture to it. But most watercolor paper does have a lot of texture. But not that it's a bad thing. Not that if it doesn't have the texture doesn't mean it's a bad paper. But it's just I find it kind of interesting how trying to show you the differences of what I noticed right now compared to the hot press. So it's blending just slightly differently, but again, I'm going to probably get the same or similar effects that I would normally get from doing the other watercolor paper, but it's going to take me a little bit different time. So and it's coming across. It's kind of a learning process of how I'm going to do this. So anyway, I just want to thank you for joining me tonight. I just didn't want to leave you guys, where I was at. My last video was I felt that it was really great because in the sense of I was able to talk to you more about how it's therapy to do artwork. It gets you through your emotions, and then I got a nice response from somebody saying something in that regards about, we're kind of sharing to me how art is therapy and stuff like that. So going to a gallery or something, that was really good. So I'm just saying, it is therapy to do art. It is kind of like you put your time and effort into your artwork. In some ways, your soul into it, I guess. That you feel like there's a part of you inside that artwork. So you really are putting your time and effort into it. So I may work on this a little bit further when you guys join me again, because I just feel like it's just going to be a lot of the same things, a lot of this just kind of learning how I'm going to put everything, adding the darks, and then kind of getting the texture built up. So you might see a little bit more next time you come in. I'm not really sure exactly what direction I'm going to go with it, although the direction I'm going to go is to try to finish this, the background, try to add more of the texture to the robot and the shoulders, his chest here. But I might bring that further along like it is here next time you guys join me, because there's really not much, you're going to view it, but there's not going to be much going on in the sense of it's just kind of building up, painting, building layers, and still keeping the light of the paper, which is very important. So just want to thank you for joining me tonight. Sorry I had a lot of periods of time where I didn't really talk, and not that I don't want to talk, it's just that I'm trying to focus. I'm kind of like, I'm in that mode, and I hope you guys enjoy that part too, because it's not always about talking. It's also about the creating process, to actually drawing it, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So again, it's all learning. Thank you for joining me on the spot. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I encourage you would, and then we'll just keep growing, maybe improving, hopefully, in time, or whatever, different table soon. Just different. You guys won't really notice any difference probably, but there will be some differences in the future. But I'm hoping for the good, that it'll turn out better. Hopefully I'll get more inspired to do more things, to do more of the things that I've done on my websites, not just robots and not just lighthouses, but maybe things further into what I've done before in the past. I'm not going to go say I'm going to commit to anything doing it. I'm just thinking of it now because I want to show you guys what we can do and what you can do as artists. So if you watch my videos and you may not watch all of it, just kind of skim through it. That's fine too. I'm not upset. If you watch it and you kind of skim through it and skip ahead and you want to see what I'm doing. But I just want to encourage you guys, if you are watching and listening, and just to keep doing art, whatever it is, and stay encouraged, and just keep drawing, keep painting. So, and I just want to thank you for anybody who's just subscribed to my channel. You're entering into this whatever I'm doing. Just please go back to the previous videos of this. I had maybe 3 or 4. Let's say 4 videos or 3 videos at least prior to this one, talking about the hot press paper, and it's sort of a just a experimentation to see how I would do with watercolor. On this paper. So it's turning out, and it's a process. There's a lot of things that still need to be done, that will get done, and it's going to take time. But thank you for joining me on the spot, and yeah, stay encouraged. Have a good night.